Welcome in, everybody, to the In Off the Bench podcast. It's a Tuesday afternoon. I don't have Daniel Ball with me, but it's okay, man. It's a weird day because it's election day. My kid doesn't have school. Things don't make sense to me, but here we are getting to talk to another amazing athlete. We're heading over back to Blacksburg to Virginia Tech. A boy, Tracy Hughes, said Garrett Michel was a must-have on the show, so we're going to get his story today. But before we do, we have to plug the sponsors. Chinook Cedary, 8 flavors, mild to wild, the best in the game, no salt, no sandpaper tongue. Old Dominic Distillery, whatever you like, bourbon, gin, vodka, you name it, they got it. The heart of downtown Memphis. Go to Relief Chiropractic in DeSoto County. Go see my man, Dr. Vic. He'll get you taken care of. And last but not least, Memphis City Design. Go get all your Memphis Grizzlies, Memphis Tigers apparel, and of course, your In Off the Bench apparel while supplies last. With that being said, let's get to the biggest interview in podcasting this week with our man, Garrett.
Garrett, thank you for having me,
man.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Like we were talking about beforehand, when someone puts their name on the line to speak for another person's character, it tells me everything. And, I then immediately go to your Instagram, start scrolling, and it vibes with everything he's saying. It checks out. Love to see people open with their faith, which we'll get into a little bit later. But before we do, I want to break the ice, and I love trends that I see baseball teams doing. Haven't seen your team do this video yet. Maybe y'all have, maybe haven't. So that's why I want to ask, because I haven't seen your answer. But LSU just did. If you were on death row, what would your final meal be? So I asked you, Garrett, what would yours be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think it'll give the guys on our team a good laugh, but I think it's a place in Blacksburg. I don't actually know if there's any more like outside of Blacksburg and Christiansburg, but it's called Sakura. It's like a Chinese food, or it's like a steakhouse, not like a steakhouse. I can't even think of like what it is. It's like teriyaki.
They cook it in front of you?
It's like that restaurant, but they don't cook it in front of you.
Gotcha.
They don't actually cook it in front of you, but it's like way more convenient for like a college student who just needs to get in and out, grab the food and get back, do homework and stuff like that. And it's amazing. And we'll go as like 3 or 4 teammates, and I will go and just sit down and eat. Like we'll sit down in there and eat, and it's always a good time.
Nice endorsement. I might have to reach out to them. I mean, you're plugging. I might have to get an NIL ASAP, or at least get some free food when you come through, especially when you get them boys to Omaha. But we'll talk about that here shortly too. But a big trend, has been the athletes at the concerts. We had the Tennessee players on that did the Morgan Wallen thing. Virginia Tech, obviously known for an amazing football stadium and venue. If you could pick any musician to do a concert and you walk out with, who are you going with?
Tennessee just did it, but I have to go Morgan Wallen. I think our team is live and die by Morgan Wallen recently. Like especially at the house I live in, there's 5 of us, and I mean there's Morgan Wallen playing probably half the day. Like if we're there, half the time Morgan Wallen's playing.
Have you seen? I didn't really know about it until the Tennessee thing. And then I start seeing the clips of who he walks out with everywhere, from Tom Brady to Hulk Hogan to whatever. Like, did you know he like walked out with all these? Like, I mean, he walks out with the best of the best wherever he's at.
Yeah, I had no idea. I watch like songs played in concert. Like we'll watch it. We'll actually stream it on YouTube on our TV and blare it as loud as we can, or connect it to a speaker. But I didn't really know that they did that to start their concert. You never really see that. Mm-hmm. But they've kind of been more like posting about stuff like that, and I think it's sick. I think it gets like the party going a little bit before the actual concert happens.
Yeah, and I mean, the dude's, he already knows he's killing it, obviously, but 9 out of every 10 guests, male or female, doesn't matter what the sport, doesn't matter the location of the country, say that's who they would have. And so, like, if I could, like, speak to him, I'd just be like, bro, like, let me just tip my cap, because, I mean, you literally have every college athlete in the country say you're the guy. Like, so I'm sure he knows already, but just to solidify and let him know one more time, like, bro, you're doing it right. But last question on the icebreaker, probably the most important question to me. Got to know, you're a baseball guy. What's your favorite baseball movie?
I think The Benchwarmers. I think you can watch that movie 100,000 times and you are going to die laughing every single time.
I hate that Daniel's not here, not because that's his favorite movie. He's a major league guy. I'm a Sandlot guy, but Benchwarmers, it's been so long since someone said that. I really think it was literally 2 years ago, Luke Lipsius from Tennessee. Like, it's been that long. So I love a different answer. As much as like I like an answer like The Sandlot solidifying my thoughts, I like to hear variety because baseball has so many good movies. Like it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to other sports, right, there are good movies, but there's only a few that really like you have on there. Baseball, man, you could run a gauntlet for months of movies.
I'm shocked that nobody in a while has said the Benchwarmers. I feel like it's a classic, and it's just like,
Well, do you know that that's
watch over
why
and over.
he touched home plate with one finger that made everybody mad?
Why? Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
So in the movie where he touches it, he makes the
Yeah,
noise
yeah,
and touches it. That Luke did that in a game, and Tennessee was already hated in 2022 for the arrogance and everything. Anyway, that was why he did that.
I think I remember seeing that now. Now that you say
Yeah, he literally came to home plate and he said, obviously nobody can hear him, but he was like, boop.
That's
Anyway,
so
which made it so much. I thought it was hilarious in the moment anyway, but after he tells the story, I just had so much more of an appreciation for it.
That's awesome.
But enough of that foolishness. Let's get into your story. Where are you from?
I'm from a small town. I'll tell a lot of people Charlotte, but I'm right outside of Charlotte in a town called Denver, North Carolina. I'll say Denver and I get the Colorado. And so I usually just say Charlotte, but I'm from Denver, North Carolina.
Whether it's been sports, military, because I knew a lot of guys that were from North Carolina, obviously covering a lot of sports. I've never really met anybody who didn't just feel like North Carolina was the best place to live and be from. Is that something you feel as well?
I love it. I love it because I'm like 20 minutes from like downtown Charlotte. Like both my parents work in downtown Charlotte, and it's such an easy drive like to downtown and like where like the life of the city is and stuff like that. But you're also like in a small town right outside of it, so you have a little bit of everything. And it's just, I mean, I've grown up there my whole life. I've only lived in one house, grateful for it, and it's just I love where I've grown up.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the state and when I've been there, like, and obviously the hurricane that came through, it's one of the things it's sad to see because of the beauty of the state. But when you go from the mountain ranges to the beach, it's got a dynamic about it. And then on top of that, it's got amazing baseball, arguably the best in the country. So for a guy like you talk about the small town, you talk about the city, you have the beauty, and then, oh, by the way, man, baseball everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So, let's talk family, family dynamics, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, big family, small family. What are we working with?
I got my mom and dad, and then I have a 25-year-old brother who lives in Charlotte as well. He's a cop in downtown Charlotte. And I mean, he's the reason I play the game. He grew up playing. He was committed to a D3 in North Carolina. He didn't really like the atmosphere of the college itself, like the people on the team and just the environment. And so he got close. I mean, he was close with God, and just God was telling him to leave and go to Liberty University for school. But I mean, he's a cop now in Charlotte, and he's loving every bit of that. But he's the reason I play this game.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the athletes that come on here are younger siblings, and they always talk about how their older siblings had an impact, and I think it's great. Iron sharpens iron mentality on a daily basis, and in your house can only make you better. And a lot of times, you level up, right? Because you're trying so hard to be like them if they play the same sport, and it only makes you grind better. So definitely an appreciation for that. And it's cool to hear that, he supported you in such a way. And then now doing his, public service as a cop. But, as far as influences outside your brother, was there, a famous athlete? Was there a coach? Was there an older player outside of that? Who was your biggest influence outside your brother?
I had a hitting coach for 4 years of high school, and I had my freshman year of high school. I played travel ball and had a sucky summer, to be honest with you. And I reached out to my travel ball coach for a hitting coach, and he sent my dad 3 options, and he picked a guy named Bob Zupsik who played for the Boston Red Sox only because he was a Red Sox, and my dad's a Red Sox fan. And he ended up being the biggest role model in my life. I talk to him to this day, and to be honest with you, he's not really much of a hitting coach anymore because, I mean, he doesn't see me hit on a daily basis. He's a life coach. Like, I called him on the way home. I went home last weekend to vote and to just hang out with my family. And I talked to him just about my faith and what was going on with that and stuff like that. And it's just like, I call him knowing that I don't have to talk about baseball. This is like a guy I can sit down and talk to just about life, my faith, what's going on, and just kind of get my mind off everything that's happening like on campus and stuff like that. But he has totally turned my life around for the better, and I can't thank him enough.
Yeah, those are the kind of guys. I know a few of them, and then we've had guys like you talk about guys like that in their life. But I think that's actually your job as a coach. I don't think your job first and foremost, and this is the reason why I love Tony Vitello. People can feel some kind of way. He came on this show and said that his job is to be a mentor and to help them in their life. And we have all these guys talk about it. They, like I said, you can feel some kind of way on the field, but I watch him when he's walking around having conversations one-on-one, and they say that he's asking about their family, their girlfriend, their academics, whatever. And I think that's important for a coach to be there for you in life first, and then sports be second. And it's amazing, because you're a person of faith, how that all can entangle. It's the same thing. You put God first and let everything else, take care of the rest. And so, let's get into that. You talked about your brother. Let's get into the faith aspect. You're open about it, which is something that I love. Is this something that's been instilled with you, most of your life from an early time, or was there a time like in high school, middle school? When did it hit you?
No, it started from my brother. A lot of things, you'll learn a lot of things started from my brother. My brother had a couple friends in high school who were big in their faith. One of them, his dad was a pastor at a church that we ended up going to, but he started going to youth group with his friends, and he just kind of pulled our family into the church. It started with me, and then my parents followed, and it's just kind of like ever since then, it's been a priority number one for us. Like, we went to church on Sundays. It was tough.
And that story is that much better because you said your parents got brought in from that is the very essence of when, people say, I'm not equipped, or they're too young, or whatever the case may be. That's not the case. And the other thing is, when you live out a life for Christ and others view it, it could be somebody from a distance, or it could be somebody close, but you can impact people in a way. And so for your brother to impact the whole family, man, that's awesome.
Definitely. He's definitely one of my biggest role models, and still to this day. But he got us in the church, and we bounced around a couple churches, just like finding the one that perfectly fit us and stuff like that. But church has always been a priority. I got up here, it's quick to find a church up here, try and prioritize my faith. It wasn't until this year I'm actually the multi-sport huddle leader for like all of sports at Virginia Tech, as well as I help with baseball with a guy on our team named Sam Tackett. And I mean, it's definitely like a guy from last year, Matt Siverling. He was a left-handed pitcher. He was a very big pitcher for us, but you didn't hear his name a ton, but you heard his name a ton off the field because of how much of a great impact he was on just like the teammates, and just how awesome of a locker room guy he was. He ran our FCA, and he challenged me to take in that role because he was leaving. He's an engineer in St. Louis right now, but he had a very strong impact on me, and I can't thank him enough for challenging me for this role, because I've loved every bit of it. It's challenged my faith personally, and it's grown my faith more than I could ever thought.
Yeah, and I love the way it's it's a challenge. It wasn't just given to you. He knew that it was something that was going to require you to give an accountability, right? Because it's such a significant role. So it's not something, hey, I'm just handing you this. I'm challenging you to take this on and to do it, the way God would see that you would want to do it. And so, and that's awesome, man. At a school the size of Virginia Tech, the athletic program that y'all have, to be someone that's a face and that has to hold accountable. And I think you got to love that, right? Because you're a high pressure baseball player, right? I think you're somebody who probably thrives when you're put up against it.
Definitely. Faith. And I think this year more than ever, it's kind of it's impacted my life in every aspect. I feel like at times I would kind of try and separate baseball and God in a way that, like, I'd have my like one-on-one time with God. I would read the Bible, have my devotions and stuff like that. But when I got to the field, it was like my time. And I think through my injury last year, God showed me it's like baseball's not priority number one, like I am. And like, you are able to play baseball because of what Christ did on the cross for us and stuff like that. So it's just made me bring God onto the field with me more than I ever have before. Like, I mean, I'm in the middle of practice, and I'll like today I was alone at first base, and I just had like a moment where like our coaches were talking to the infielders at shortstop who were throwing the balls to me at first, and I just had a second to talk to God. Like, it's stuff like that makes playing the game so much better and makes it so much easier, to be honest with you. There is no stress when you realize how special Christ is.
Yeah, because that this life is temporary, and that Jesus already laid down his life, and he's won the battle for us. But did you get to watch the final game of the World Series and watch Trinan pitch for the Dodgers?
I watched. Yes, I watched part of it. I didn't watch.
Okay, so I wasn't. I know every player, it feels like, in college baseball, but in pro, I don't really watch until after college baseball's over, and then I just try to kind of keep with it. And so with that, I'm not the most familiar with him, and I'm watching him from the time, and this is what we talk about, living out your faith and people seeing it. I'm watching him, and when he initially gets out there, he's having a conversation looking up. And then after every out recorded, he's having a conversation looking up. And I'm watching him, and it's no doubt in my mind he's talking to God. And
Definitely.
there's no doubt that he's giving him appreciation and glory every time he gets an out. And then he gets the final out, and I mean he gives it all. And then of course, so I'm waiting post game, they interview him, and nothing about him. All the glory is God. And I was like, I knew that was coming because I could see it about him. And like you said, sometimes people want to separate it, but man, why not? Like, bring him into the game, talk to him in the game. It's not a guarantee that means you're going to win and have success, right? That's not how God works. But why not, man? Call upon him. I like the comment that he said within it. They said, why was he able to have success? And he said, God just gave me the strength and the energy to keep pushing through, because he had his highest pitch count of the season. That's awesome. And that's the reality. Why not, man? Hey, God, help me get through this, push through, because a lot of it's mental, right? As much as it is physical when you're out there. So really cool to see. But let's get into, that time in high school you're talking about. We talk about character. You're the 2-time captain of your high school team, 3-time conference player of the year, 2-time South Fork all-conference team, named to the North Carolina all-state team your freshman and senior year, hold the East Lincoln High School home run record, help the South Charlotte Panthers travel team that you're talking about reach the 4th in the national rankings after winning the championship. So clearly a lot of success, like I said, in a state that is known for great baseball. So just, kind of summarizing your time in high school, whether the, high school team or the travel team, just, how much fun and what you learned.
It was a ton of fun. I think I grew a lot from it as a player. And I honestly – I got to give a lot of credit to my parents. I played for South Charlotte, and they gave me the opportunity to get recruited by a lot of college scouts or college coaches, and like have the opportunity to be able to be here at Virginia Tech. But I originally didn't want to try out for that South Charlotte team because I wanted to stay on the little team I was playing with before and hang out with my close friends locally and just not really branch out. And I didn't really understand the picture my freshman year. And they kind of just challenged me to go take that tryout and just see if I liked it or not. I went, I made the team, and I loved every bit of it since. I mean, I played for that team all my high school, and I mean, it's the greatest decision I've ever made, and I can't thank my parents enough for challenging me to do it. But yeah, it's like, I mean, the game is a lot faster at the college level now that I'm here and realize that. But looking back at my high school days, it's just like I'm very fortunate with the 2 teams, like my high school team, my travel team, that I was able to play on, because I definitely did learn a ton and I was challenged a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So clearly you're having that kind of success. You're going to be getting recruited at a high level. So with the options that I'm sure you had, what was it about Virginia Tech that made it the place for you?
We played a tournament here, and me and my mom spent the day just kind of like walking around, like, because when you do tournaments at college like campuses, you definitely want to take advantage of it and look around, just like the university itself. Like at the same time, like we're at this baseball field a ton, but like this isn't everything that I'm doing. Like I'm a student here first, and so we toured this place, just kind of walked around, and I mean, like if you walk around this campus, it's hard not to fall in love with it. Like on the way home, my mom jokingly said, she was just like I'm trying to let it be your decision, but I wish I could come back to college and go here because it's so beautiful and it's just a great environment. And you could tell, like, I mean, I hadn't been to a football game. I hadn't been to those crazy atmospheres yet. And you could tell this place was, I mean, that's a saying, this is home, and it truly is. And I'm very, very blessed to be here.
Yeah, since you brought up the football, aspect, it's the first thing that I had to ask Trace. And, it's a bucket list thing of mine. It's a top 3. You could argue it's number 1. I don't say number 1 just because it leads to people arguing for no reason. So we'll call it top 3. But Enter Sandman, absolutely electric. First time that you get to be in that environment, man, was it? I mean, obviously, it had to be everything you thought it was. It. I mean, the coolest thing you ever been a part of.
100%. And I mean, to be honest with you, every every game, like we have a game against Clemson, and the game before last, our last home game was cooler than the first time. Every time it gets so much cooler because like you realize how special of a moment it is. And it's just crazy how many people in that stadium jumping up and down, ready for the team to run out to start the game. And then they cut the music and everybody's singing along to the song. It's hard to beat. It really is.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll be at LSU Alabama this weekend. It's not the size of the crowd because I've been in plenty of sizes. It really has to do with the song, man. There's just that energy that comes from it. LSU has, different things, obviously Colin Baton Rouge being one of them, but not hitting like, Metallica, Enter Sandman, something that for me, I grew up on. That was like a song that you really got hyped for. So it's really, really cool to see. But, let's get to the baseball aspect, talking about feelings. First time you step on that field, you don that uniform, man, just, as a freshman, how excited were you to be a part of a successful program like that and, finally be a part of Virginia Tech baseball?
It was very special. I committed my freshman, sophomore summer, and they were kind of in like a struggling period where they didn't really like have the success I think they knew they could. And then my senior year, that's when they made the super regional and 1 game away from Omaha. And I came in here expecting and knowing like this play, it's going to be a grind. Like this team is good. They have a ton of talent. I mean, you don't make it to a super regional by accident. You don't.
Right.
You have the guys to do it. And I was ready for the challenge, and it was awesome. Like being able to, I still remember the first game we played at Charleston my freshman year and just going up to the lineup and seeing my name in there. It was just like that. It was like the heart drop at first, like, okay, like now, but then it was like, now we go. Like, this is, you worked your butt off for this. Like, now we go. Enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, and you absolutely shine. You played in 51 games, started in all of them, batted .339 while recording, 58 hits, 11 home runs, 16 doubles, slugging .626, scored 51 runs and 45 RBIs. Man, that's a lot of success for freshmen in the ACC, which is obviously a powerhouse in baseball. Did you honestly, expect to have that much success out the gate?
I mean, I'd like to say I did. And I don't want it to sound cocky in any way, shape, or form, but I had a very strong month of January in those scrimmages, and I felt like I kind of placed myself in the lineup. I was a DH spot to begin with, and then I slowly worked my way into first base. But I felt very confident going into the first game, and I was 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts my first game. I'll remember it to this day. It was just a complete that rest of the night was completely destroyed me. I was just like so bummed. Like I called my hitting coach, my life coach, and just was like opening up to him. And I woke up the next morning. I was like, doesn't matter. Like you got to go. Like it's new day, new opportunity. And I ended up I finished the rest of the weekend pretty strong. But like it was, I like to think I was ready to have that success. And
I think you had the confidence probably because the guys who say they didn't expect was because you were talking about having a really good January. Guys that struggle in the fall and in the early winters, scrimmages, they lack confidence. I mean, we know how much of this game is mental. So I think when you have that success prior to, it gives you that confidence. Just thinking of a guy over there on that side. Ethan Petrie, man, he came on here and talked about, hey, he wasn't even supposed to be a starter coming into the freshman year. Said he could not have looked any worse fall, didn't even know if he belonged. And then as we know, only Charlie Condon was better than him as a freshman. So I think that a lot of that has to do with it. But, it's like you said, you go out there, whether you have success or not, you got to stay focused. You got to work. And that you did, and you had a lot of success individually. As a team, you obviously don't make the postseason. You come there with expectations of doing that. So I'll ask this, what did you learn the most from that experience, being a part of a team that has a lot of potential but didn't just, be able to get to where you thought you would?
Yeah, I think Coach Chef says a lot for us. It's tough to win a series, but the 2-1s, the 1-2s, and not getting swept, it makes a huge difference. Like getting that 2-1 rather than the 1-2 in the weekend series on ACC play, and especially like towards the end, we had our rough weekends. We played a lot of high level teams towards the end. The past 2 years, we've had a harder schedule towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I noticed you had Wake Forest last in 2023 when they were an absolute juggernaut. So that's not a favor.
Definitely, and it's just you gotta find a way to get 2, and if you can't get 2, you have to get 1. You can't go into somewhere or play at home and get swept. It makes a huge difference when they count up the total wins at the end of the year. And like I said, Chef says it all the time, and he truly is right when he says it.
Yeah, I wasn't even planning on asking this, but I obviously brought it up myself with the Wake Forest thing because we had about 10 of those guys on this show, and then we had even more of that at the LSU. So when I was in Omaha watching that, man, it's just everything. It was between the talent level and those guys, but being that you guys played Wake Forest, and you win against a guy like Rhett Lauder, right? And you watch Brock Wilkin and Nick Kurtz, like just how good was that team, man, from the opposite side?
Oh, they were definitely challenging, and I think we knew that going in. It was a running joke. I'll say it now because it's over, but it was a running joke what the scouting report on Rhett Lauder was going to be, because everybody knew he was dominant, and he tunneled well. He had 3 pitches. He threw them whenever he wanted to, and he just commanded it well. Like I said, I think on another podcast, I said he's the best pitcher I've faced, and he truly is. But it was just a matter of going in there, and nobody expected us to go in there and win one game, let alone anything else like that. But we just had to go in there with that mindset. We only walked out of there with 1, and we were obviously we had the opportunity. We honestly had the opportunity to take the series, and we didn't. But you had to go in there with the mindset like you have nothing to lose, play with your hair on fire.
Yeah, me and Brock Wilkin talked about it recently. We have our show Pros and Joes, and we have the minor league guys on, and we had Skeens on there as well. But we were talking about Lauder and Skeens, and just you look how fast they shot up to the pros, and then immediate success. Guys that faced them in college and it didn't go so well. There was a reason they were absolutely that good as advertised. They were those dudes, and that Wake Forest team. I honestly think that semifinals was the championship to me. Like I said, I was in Omaha. It's not a shot at Florida. Just I think Wake was the second best team, and honestly, they were up a game, right? Like as an LSU fan, I thought there was a good chance it could be over, man. They just couldn't really get their bats going against Ty Floyd. So, that being said, getting off the Wake Forest thing, you go into your sophomore season. Obviously expectations. We talk about that. You start off red hot, man, but seeing the pictures, seeing the injury. For those who don't know, what happened?
Yeah, so I played 9 games. In the 9th game, I think it was first and second, slow roller hit to our third baseman, and just throw kind of took me up the line. Usually I catch it like kind of swipe tag. My glove kind of runs into his body and throws my shoulder back. It's like done it 100 times, nothing's happened, and it just happened to be I caught it low. And when I caught it, it jammed into the base runner's knee. And I've never, not very grateful, I've never broken a bone in my body until then, but I knew it right away. It sounded like it was in my ear. I actually I can laugh about it now, but I got a lot of crap for the reaction I had to it because I threw myself all around the field. They're all joke of like I probably injured myself more when I was throwing myself all around the field, but it was genuinely probably one of the worst.
It's paid in frustration, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's just it was pain. It was very, very painful. But I got into the dugout, and I bawled because I knew that it was broken. I knew that I was either going to be out for at least 8 weeks, and if not more. And obviously I was out for the rest of the season. And it's God's plan, and I trust that. And I think I learned a lot from the injury. I look back at it now, and I'm, as much as I would have loved to play the whole season, help the team, try and get to where we want to be. I'm very grateful for the injury because of what it did for me as a person, not as a baseball player. Like I said kind of earlier, it showed me that baseball isn't everything.
It reminds me, we have, a lot of guys, obviously injury, but a lot of guys talk about being grateful for redshirting, right? They're not happy in the moment, but it slows down and they get to learn and just take everything in. And so I think the same thing comes from an injury, for you, somebody who playing basically every game as a freshman, things just start off so fast. It gives you a chance to slow down and just kind of take it all in and reevaluate. But more importantly for you, because you're someone who has faith, a lot of guys can obviously get down in the dumps in a moment like that. And it's not even just your faith, your support system, right? From you talking about your mentor to your brother, your parents. So it gives you the opportunity to reflect and take that in. And I'm sure all that helped you to be able to bounce back. So how long did it keep you completely out of playing ball?
Yeah, so I was out for the rest of the season. I worked and had a plan to try and get back. And it's just kind of one of those things where I texted our trainer and I was like, let's be aggressive with this. Like, I want to push myself and try and get back to where I can play and try and help this team. And I thought I had a glimpse of trying to be able to play at the end, and it just kind of, it wasn't God's plan for me. Like, it just kind of, the plan, or like the schedule kind of ended up slowing down with just how I was feeling, and just waking up day to day and not feeling the greatest because I was pushing myself so hard to be able to try and play. But I was able to, we got back after the ACC tournament. Well, obviously we didn't have the year we wanted to and knew we weren't going to make it. So everyone kind of parted campus, like had time at home before summer ball. I stayed here to continue to rehab. I took live at bats off guys. I was very fortunate. One of our guys was rehabbing from Tommy John. Another one was a grad who's done playing ball, but he was hanging out here, and I asked him, I was like, hey, can you stay throwing and just try and help me get back and see live pitching? And I'm grateful that he was able to do that. Like, he was hanging him up. So like, he could have just hung him up and got out of here, but he stayed, helped me get to where I needed to be for summer ball. And I was able to play game 1 of summer ball I was there till game 3 of the championship.
Plus at Virginia Tech, man, you got to be strong enough to swing the home run hammer, man. It's not. I mean, that is one of the coolest things in college baseball. I absolutely love it. And when I went through your pictures, it was my favorite part, seeing you swing the hammer, like, going kind of back, freshman year. What's it like the first time swinging the hammer?
First time swinging the hammer is actually pretty embarrassing. I hit a homer in our fall game against Radford at home. And I mean, it was my first at bat as a college athlete. And I went backside it, hit a homer, and I got the hammer tossed to me, but I grabbed it as a right-handed hitter instead of a left-handed. And I didn't think it made a difference. And it swung me around, and I never slammed it. And I got so much crap for it, but it was like, looking back, like, there was a video of it. They posted on Twitter, I think. And it's so funny to watch. But I mean, slamming that hammer for the first time, like in season, in game, was sick.
Look, God knows what he's doing. You've had a couple of moments to humble you down and make sure you don't get too far ahead of yourself.
It's awesome. I love it.
Man, yeah, but I see a lot of traditions. I like the hammer. I like the lightsaber that they, of course, brought out at Tennessee. Obviously they had the hat and the jacket, but a lot of cool things. And I think it's important, right? When you talk about growing the game of college baseball, when you want people to tune in, I think those are the things that make people excited. And I don't even just think kids, I think adults like myself, like, you have to make it fun. And I know the NCAA try to reel back, on-field celebrations, but I think it's important. Everything, from when we talk about, our faith, like seeing the circles of prayer to celebration. I think all that, I want to see everything, about it, because college baseball feels kind of like life, right? Like, I mean, it is what y'all are doing. Y'all are ingrained. Obviously you have the academics and everything, but it's just cool to see all aspects and phases and having fun, because ultimately it is a game, right? And you're supposed to have fun. And I think the players that lose sight of that are the ones that, struggle the most. The ones, thinking of another guy we've had on here, Trey Morgan, asked why he smiles all the time. He's like, man, I'm playing a game. This is fun. Like, why wouldn't I smile? And I go watch him at Double-A this year with the Montgomery Biscuits, and he goes 3 for 4 both games, and he's just tearing it up, and he's still got that same smile on. And it's like, man, as long as that guy keeps that energy, I see him having success. And on top of that, he's a Christ follower. So I think these things matter. But coming into this season, man, obviously, like I said, we had Trayson on, and Trayson was bold enough to say, I think this team is the best team in the ACC. And when I look, we had a lot of guests, I said from Wake, but also North Carolina, and those teams lost a lot. Meanwhile, he said, y'all are loading. So is something you would double down behind him and say, not necessarily the favorites, but like, this is a conference. Virginia Tech is a team that can win the ACC, which, like I said, we know is a gauntlet.
100%. And you're not going to, and I think what I think personally is the best part about it is you're not going to hear a lot about us before the season because of the past 2 years we've had. But I love that so much more. I would pick being unranked over ranked any day of the week, because you don't have those expectations. You don't have that number beside your name. Obviously, you want to be ranked and you want to be like the number one team in the nation. But I think regardless of the number we have beside our name, we have the ability to be the number one team in the nation.
Yeah, I think honestly think it's more fun to get into the top 25 and climb the charts, and then people, like you said, out of nowhere be like, hold up, man, like, this team's good. Like, and then you see they beat so yeah. As opposed to also, the target on your back can have a lot of pressure. We've had guys from all the different teams and talk about when you have those expectations, like to keep using different teams. The guys at Arkansas talk about the expectations and the pressure year after year. Being at the top and everybody's expecting you to win a national championship because you haven't done it yet. Sometimes those can be frustrating, but. Talking about the guys, this is the last question I ask you, and then we'll play this or that. Talk to me about some of the guys, that you feel like are going to make an impact. I'm sure you can run down the whole roster.
Oh, yeah.
Trayson named a few guys. Give me a few guys that you feel personally on both sides, pitching and hitting, that you feel like are going to be a massive impact and people need to take note of.
I think to start, Trayson's going to be huge. I mean, he's a great outfielder as well as
he's one of the best. Look, I don't know if you even know the story or because they don't have a clip of it because it was in fall ball, and I think it was Fisher. Somebody hit one to the right field wall all the way to the wall, and he goes and gets it, and literally his right foot is like 1 foot off the wall. And he throws an absolute frozen rope and gets him at third. And it doesn't even one hop or anything, just straight to the glove.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, and it was, like I said, it's fall ball. It was early. I wasn't even aware of who it was yet because he's transferring to Ole Miss. They don't, the numbers aren't matching people. I'm like, who is that kid? And like, I was immediately like, okay, dude, like I'm a fan. Like you can do that. Like you got me.
Yeah, I've had my fair shares of being on first and ball hits him in the outfield, and I'm quickly shutting down the turn, not going first to third because I'm not a fast guy myself, but I know my odds if I'm running on his arm is probably lower than anybody else.
He said not too many guys say. I was like, how hard is it to make that throw from wall to home? And he's like, it's fairly easy, and it's like, like man, I'm just trying to hit the cutoff man accurately.
That's how I would be if I was in the outfield. But I think he's going to be very impactful. I think we picked up another Mercer transfer, which Trayson was at Mercer to Ole Miss and then to here. But Jackson Cherry, another outfielder, I think he's a very, very strong bat. I mean, he's just I actually live with him, but if you look at him, he's jacked. Like he's a very strong dude and he hits the ball hard. And he's a returner from last year, but David McCann. We played Liberty in a fall game here, and he hit 3 homers. Like it's just
not bad.
It's just effortless. Like he hit the second one, everyone's pumped, and his third at bat. I think he went off like the middle of the scoreboard. Everybody knew it off the bat.
I'll say something about your power that I noticed in the clips. You remind me, I feel like Logan Tanner always went oppo, and every home run that I was watching it felt like it was oppo. Obviously, I don't play the same position or even the same handed, but I was just thinking about that. Like I watched the first 3 home run clips and they were all up. I was like, that tells me everything about your power. It tells anybody, right? Like a guy who can push it oppo just as good as he can, pull side. Like that speaks to your power.
I would much rather hit an opposite field homer than a pull side homer any day of the week. I think 9 out of my 11 homers my freshman year were opposite field, and I love it. It's just you're able to see the ball longer. You're able to have a little bit more time to decide. Like I don't know why anybody else would try and pull the ball. Like
it's one of those things, man. I think you talked about your hitting coach. Coming up, a lot of these guys, you can tell who had the coaches that worked with them on placement hitting around the field, and you see guys who just taught them to basically swing hard, right? Like so I think that was probably meaningful. You mentioned him and how you made the adjustments coming out of high school, so I think that played a role because being able to put the ball all over the field and obviously for the pitching, right? So obviously how they pitch you changes up because they know they can't try to get you on the outside or they're gonna make them pay.
Definitely. I think speaking of pitching, I think our pitching staff we brought in a ton of transfers. We lost a lot of guys last year. We have more new guys this year than returners. Mm-hmm. And some could say it's bad. That's how the portal is nowadays. But I'm excited for the staff that we have. Like we got a guy, Cam Lejeune, and he's another guy that's absolutely jacked. But he's a dog on the mound. He's gonna help us a ton. Returner Madden Clement, the left-handed pitcher, has improved his game so much, and it's a grind facing him in scrimmages. I don't think I've had the best success off him this fall, but it's just a tough AB. Like he's got He's got some good stuff behind his pitches, and I mean, I'm really excited to see what he has. I mean, up and down our pitching staff, like it's not a ton of names you're going to know, but I'm excited to see them grind and see them like just truly compete on the mound and try and give us in the best position possible to win.
Yeah, and you talking about the new players, that's just the reality of college baseball. And for anybody listening that hadn't heard me say it, it's not always about NIL and money. It's about fit. It's about feel. A lot of guys, don't jive with certain coaching staffs, and they just want to make a change. And that's why I told you I like to see guys happy, right? I want to see everybody thrive, not just survive. And so, this is the reality of college baseball. You're going to see a lot of guys moving. I don't think, it's kind of funny. Each year, whatever team we had the most guests from has won the national championship, and we started
keep bringing BT guys on.
Yeah, and I say that because a lot of those guys were upperclassmen on Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and LSU particularly. I don't think you're going to see teams like that anymore. You're just not, where you have a lot of guys who've been there 3-4 years, and it does stink because as a fan, right, you want to root for guys for 3-4 years in a row, not moving pieces. But if you want to have success, you have to earn it in the portal. Coaches have to be able to find, and it's not even the best guys, right? It's the right guys. I think chemistry matters as much as talent.
Definitely, and it's kind of changed the game for high school kids. And I mean, I hate it for the high school players that are coming up now. But I mean, it's going to be a lot easier for you to go in the portal, grab a guy with 2 years left who has 2 years of college experience, and ride with them. Like that's just.
You mentioned a guy like Trayson, you get excited because everything he brings to the table. But most importantly, he's hungry, right? He's moving because he wants to be a part of a culture that he feels like is a winning culture, and he can have massive success. So when he picks a team like that, you know why he came there, and then you're excited to play with him, like you said.
Definitely.
Well, with that being said, man, we're going to get to the game, this or that. We play with everybody. It's very simple. You get two options. You choose one or the other. You can't say both. You can't say neither. Brought to you by Chinook Seedery, as we talked about. Have you had Chinook seats?
Yes, I have. A pitcher on our team had him in the dugout last year. Obviously, I was in the dugout all last year, and seeds were the go-to usually.
Yeah, Trayson, I got him set up to be an ambassador. I don't know if he's got his package with all the flavors yet, but when he does get them, he's got to take care of you. My recommendation for you, if you want to know what mine and Daniel, the regular main host, we mix two different flavors together. If you mix barbecue and cinnamon toast, we call it smoke and toast.
That actually does sound pretty good.
Yeah, and he came up with the title. He gets all the credit. He's mixed a lot of them, but that was the best title and the best flavor one, so it worked out. But I tell you what, there's a new one that I was told about that I don't really want to try because I don't like pickles. I don't like dill pickle flavor all alone. But I was told that if you mix the dill pickle and the Parmesan pepper, it's good. It sounds very gross. But if you get a wild hair, I'm not going to try because I don't like pickle. But you want to try it if you like pickle? I don't know. Go for it.
I'm usually open to trying new things. I might give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You only live once. With that being said, let's do it. Coffee or energy drink?
Energy drink.
What's your favorite kind?
Usually the go-to lately has been like a Reign. I about to say any energy drink that's put in front of me, I'll drink.
No, Reign is
I'm not picky.
I talk about the Morgan Wallen thing. I think Reign would be happy to know that just about every athlete comes on here and says that. So they're doing their job as well. If you're gonna do the cheat meal, man, pizza or cheeseburger?
Cheeseburger, definitely.
All right. Three mascot ones. I like asking the baseball guys. These, MILB has amazing mascots, logos. I have a hat collection with, players that have came on here when they've gone to those teams to autograph them. So first one, biscuits or rubber ducks?
I think rubber ducks is sick.
All right. Rumble ponies or mud hens?
Mud hens. I remember playing actually mud hens in MLB The Show, like in my career. So I have to go mud hens.
Nice. All right. These are my favorite too. Yard goats or trash pandas?
Trash pandas.
All right. So you're a big fan of mud hens. Would you go mud hens or trash pandas?
Probably mud hens Hens just because I played with them in MLB The Show. I mean, that was my team. I was pretty pissed because I feel like I was stuck at that level for way too long.
I don't have, and I love it and I hate it because we haven't had a guest that plays for them yet. So, because the key is I could just get the hat, but the way I've done it for my collecting, I wait for a guy that we have be there and then, get them to send me a hat autograph. So we haven't had a mud hen yet and haven't had a rumble pony yet. And I'm sad because those are two of my top 6.
That's sick.
All right. Would you rather, and let's be clear, neither is a good option. That's the fun in this question. Would you rather wrestle a bear or a tiger?
I like my chances more with a bear. I feel like I'm done against a tiger.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, neither is fun. But the tiger is just, I mean, it's going to be quicker. They also, I feel like, might play with their food. The bear might get it over quicker, like if we're going that route. All right. Would you rather go to a luxury swimming pool or the beach?
The beach. I was in the Cape for the past 2 summers, and any chance I got, I go to the beach. I love the beach.
Man, you know what? I glossed over. I mean, I put it in your video, but I forgot to ask you. Side topic. Talk about playing for Bourne and the Cape. Every guy we talk to just talks about the amazing experience and just how it makes them a better player because you're playing. Not just the competition, but you're playing with guys from the other teams. And you talked about learning. Just how much fun was the Cape?
It was a blast. I've been fortunate to play with Bourne the past 2 summers. Made it to the championship, game 3, both summers. We won after my freshman year, lost this past year. But, I mean, I've learned a ton. We actually had Jared Saltalamacchia as an assistant coach. And, I mean, oh, my gosh. That was a game changer for my game more than I could have ever thought. I still talk to him to this day. He's a great coach, mentor, just person to just be able to talk to. But, I mean, like you said, it's the best talent that there is. It's all the elite college players going to one league. And I was fortunate to be able to go back, even though I wasn't able to play my school ball season. Coach Landers and Salty accepted me and had me back, and I'm very fortunate that they did.
The guys that are successful in the Cape, it carries over into the college baseball season. It feels like I don't think that's coincidence at all. You gain a confidence, there, and obviously just the more reps you get, right? That it's one of those things, grinding it out. But me and Daniel are actually going to go there for the first time this year. We've talked about it, forever and ever. I go to Omaha and cover it every year. He finally came to Omaha for the first time this year. Got lucky, right? First 3 games were walk-offs. Then the 4th game is basically a walk-off with Laviolette robbing the home run.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, I feel like Omaha can't match what we just had this year. He's like, now we got to get the Cape done. And I'm like, all right. I was like, the thing is, he's got small kids. I don't. It's like, you realize this ain't a few day vacation. We gotta get some couple weeks up in there.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to get clearance.
Oh, yeah.
Fun to talk about without wife's permission. All right. Maybe the hardest question I'm going to ask you. I'm going to be there. Don't be biased. I want you to be straight up truthful with me. Alabama at LSU. Who you got?
I'm going Bama. It's hard. Yeah, I think Bama.
Here's why I'll tell you I'm nervous. It's a real fact. I obviously love our record at home at night specifically. The fact that Alabama is not the typical world beater, but when you look at the struggles that the LSU defense had with Reed, who's not Jalen Milroe, so the ability to do the read option, if that bye week they didn't tighten things up and figure out how to stop a guy from running. Let alone passing, he's going to have a field day, LSU at night or not. So that's going to be the key. If the defense is prepared for them, I feel like they can win. I feel like our offense can match, and obviously they'll be more comfortable at home and looking to bounce back. So it'll be interesting. I just know it'll be 102,000. It'll be electric. I'm stoked.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna.
We won't have Inner Sandman though.
No, it doesn't compare to Inner Sandman, but it's probably a close second.
I think if I'm going to go top 3, I'm obviously going to throw bias of LSU in there, but I think Inner Sandman, and then I've got to say Iowa, man, because of the kids, the sentimental value. I have not had anyone who didn't tell me that wasn't just the coolest thing to see. So obviously opposite end of the spectrum for what you're doing at Blacksburg, right? One is crazy electric, the other one's sentimental, but I mean, both just, man, hitting the mark.
I was about to say, that's definitely a heart hitter, and it's very heartfelt to see them doing it. It's sick. I like it.
All right, last one. 10 years in a coma or 5 years in jail?
I think 5 years in jail. I don't want to completely miss 10 years of my life. Like
Yeah.
jail or not. I mean, jail obviously is like, I've never been. I hope I never have to go.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine jail's fun. But at the same time, like I don't want to miss 10 years of my life.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a jail guy. Daniel is a coma guy, and he says, I just know that I wouldn't do well in jail, but it's the perspective that you put on it. It's not only just missing 10 years of your life, but your body lays there for 10 years. It's not like, so you're a baseball player, you go lay in 10 years of coma, you're not going to come out being able to play baseball. Like your body has been laying there worthless. Like, so you got to not only learn mentally everything that happened, but physically, you're going to have to rehab and rehabilitate. And I don't even know how long that would be.
Yeah, jail 10 times out of 10.
I'll tell you what, do you follow the God Behind Bars on Instagram?
I don't know if I do.
The amount of men getting, not just saved, but surrendering their life and actually making a change, and then seeing some of these Christian music groups being bold and actually going in there and playing for them and seeing guys worship. It's the very essence of things we see in the Bible, right? Because, people forget, that there were murderers, right? Like we talk about Paul and we talk about David, and it's cute when it's in the Bible, but the reality is, man, anybody can be redeemed. And to see, man, some guys that probably most of society would frown upon, truly lifting their hands and worshiping, man, it's cool. It's powerful.
It shows you're never too far lost, and you never will be.
No doubt. Well, that is the hot seat. That is this or that. Before I let you go, is there anything you want to plug or promote? Whether, NIL, you've obviously shouted out basically all the people in your life that have played a role. So you don't have to do that again. But man, anything you want to plug or promote?
I mean, I'll just plug Virginia Tech baseball as a whole. I challenge the people to just keep up with us, and I think a lot of people are going to be shocked. And I'm very, very pumped. I'm honestly, I know this time is important, like these couple months before the season, but I'm ready for game one. Like I want to get there to prove people wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm stoked because that's why I love these conversations. When usually most guys who come on here who feel the way y'all do, it backs up. Very rarely does it not match up. Like I'll think of a guy like Will Sanders a few years ago when South Carolina had a down year. He actually came on here and did not even lie to it. He says, "It's going to be a rebuild year for us." And I love that because he didn't falsely pump me up, but then came on the next year when they obviously we get to super regionals, but then, had a lot of injuries against Florida. But he said, this year is different, right? And then we had Moose and all them come on and reaffirm that, right? Like I like that when, the backup comes with what they're saying. So between you and Trayson, man, I'm a believer. And if anything, Trayson just talks about the chemistry and the coaching staff. And that is something that, so to your point, maybe the talent level isn't something that has D1 ranking you in the top 5. That doesn't even matter because if everything comes together, you can be better than a team that is more talented.
It's just a matter of the team who's more hot at the time.
Absolutely. Hey, Ole Miss 2 years ago, I was there for 3 or 4 series where they got wrecked, and man, they got hot. They said, the fact that they got in and didn't feel like they were going to, they, played, just without a worry and reckless abandon, and man, it worked out. So you just never know.
Definitely.
But that being said, man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we were able to schedule it and make it work. So for anybody listening, go check out, on Instagram, Virginia Tech Baseball. Follow them, get ready for the upcoming season, see what they got going on with fall ball. Obviously, follow Garrett in his journey, especially, as someone who's a representative and an ambassador for Christ. But this has been his story. If you like hearing his story or you just like hearing average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor. As always, ratings, comments, hugs, love, feedback, all that good stuff is welcome. We'll actually be back tonight. Daniel is launching his new show. It's going to be talking about these CrossFit games called the Grid League. So if you want to tune into that, we'll be back tonight. But in the meantime, remember, strong body, sharp mind, grit and grind all the time. We are out.